Hi everyone, welcome to this intermediate course of Social Media Marketing 201, where you learn about how you can get the most out of Twitter and Facebook through analytics, insights, and user engagement. In this lesson, Lesson 1, we discuss more on Facebook and Twitter ad management. So let's begin with Lesson 1.1, where we specifically discuss Facebook advertising management. So let's start off with how you can advertise on Facebook in terms of if you'd like to get more page likes, if you'd like to promote certain page posts, and basically gain a larger fan following on Facebook. So if you'd like to access the advertising tool on Facebook, simply go to facebook.com/ads. And once you're in there, you just need to select what you want to advertise. So is it a page? Is it a post? So we've selected the Gradbury page as that's the Facebook destination that we'd like to advertise. The next up, we decide what we would like to do. So do you want to get more page likes, which is build a bigger audience, or do you want to promote your page posts? So if you notice, both are a little bit different. Since if you select get more page likes, then the overall focus of your campaign will be to garner more likes. So there isn't a specific post that will be promoted. However, with promote page posts, this is more, for example, if you like to draw attention to a certain post. So maybe you've introduced or launched a new product, that's one, or two, maybe you're having a short-term promotional campaign. And that's really what you'd like to highlight. So maybe it's a competition, maybe it's a certain event that's happening, and that's really when you can highlight certain specific posts, and that's really when you would select the promote page posts option. So let's go back into the Prezi. So let's assume we've selected get more page likes. Once you've selected this, then you need to start creating your ad. And you start off with your headline. Now, the headline is very important because it's really what tells the user what exactly your ad is all about. So you can mention your brand name, you can mention what your brand is all about, just a little bit, because there obviously aren't several characters that you can use. So now that we're back into the toolbar, we've selected get more page likes. And then if we look here, so what we're trying to do with the headline is really grab people's attention. And also, what's really interesting about advertising, and you'll see this with Facebook ads and Google ads, is that you want to experiment with different headlines, you want to experiment with different text as well. So what you can do is you can create several ads, at least 3, with different headlines and different text, and then see which performs better over time. Then obviously the ad that doesn't perform as well, you scrap it, and you continue on with the ads that are performing really well. So here we can just go with really just about any headline. So Gradbury offer, perhaps, or jobs, maybe jobs on Gradbury.com. So let's assume we've selected a headline of jobs on Gradbury.com, and it's filling up our character requirement as well. Let's move into text. So with text, what you're trying to do is tell people a little bit more about your page. So make sure that you clearly explain what exactly it is that you're promoting. So here in our text, we can perhaps give examples of some of the jobs that we have at Gradbury. Here we've already got a text in place. So Gradbury connects students and new grads with career opportunities. Check out the academy. So what we can probably do is we can either have the text be about the academy or about the jobs section on Gradbury. So this is really what you can do is you can probably have several ads running at the same time. So we can create one ad for the academy, one ad for jobs, but let's just go with one for jobs. And then landing view is basically where your users will land, so the destination, once they click on your ad. And you can select timeline or you can select your photos, but I'd recommend selecting timeline. And here you can upload an image. So the image is 100 pixels by 72 pixels. And obviously this isn't a suitable image because what it does is that it just selects your default profile image. So what you want to do is you want to create a specific image for your adverts. And it can either be a logo, it can either specifically be an image that you've created for the campaign. But do remember, try and keep it as eye-catching as possible, but don't use images that have nothing to do with your text as well. I mean, we're seeing this quite often in several ads where, for example, the image has a strawberry on it, but it's an ad for car insurance. I mean, it doesn't really make sense, and I don't know why this has been happening more often recently. But it's either that they're trying to use catchy graphics, and however the actual ad has nothing to do with the graphic. You don't want to do that. You don't want to mislead your users. So try and use an image that's relevant. Now let's talk more about sponsored stories. So how sponsored stories work is that they really show friends or people within your network who have liked the page or liked a certain story on the page. And what it really helps people to do is discover your business through their friends. No increase in budget is required. So what we do recommend to people is to enable this option, and it's usually enabled by default. So it's enabled here, but what you can do is you can remove it if you think you don't need to add in sponsored stories. But it's definitely something we recommend adding. And there isn't an increase in budget required anyway, because obviously the budget depends upon how many people click on your ad. We'll talk more about some of the metrics that you use to measure performance. So now let's select our audience. Here, one of the first things we can do is select our location. So let's, for example, go with the United States as our country, and then we can pick a certain state. So for example, let's go with California, and then we'll actually be able to see how many people are from these certain localities, and we can get a number for our estimated audience. So you can start off with state and then get even more specific with city. Let's also, for example, do United Arab Emirates, and then we can go with Dubai, and there we have it. So it shows us that there's about 2.2 million people that live in the UAE and are in Dubai, and that are connected on Facebook. And then we can also drill down by age. So for example, let's say we're looking at 18 to 29. Then we can see it's 1.56 million. So you can get very specific in terms of choosing your audience, and you can have more targeting options. If you click on show more targeting options, you can actually start selecting by precise interests. So for example, if you're looking for people that have a specific interest of surfing, so there's about 34,000 people. And then you can even select by suggested likes and interests. These are some of the things that they've liked previously. So perhaps you'd want to go with surfing, skiing, longboarding. And of course you can also go with some broad categories as well. And what's great here is that you can also select by mobile. So if you'd like to specifically select mobile users with certain operating systems, so let's go with, for example, Android. So let's say we're trying to sell Samsung mobiles. We can also select people that are using Samsung phones already. So here we can see something very specific. So for example, let's say we're building an app that shows you the best places to surf, and the app is only available for Android, then this would probably be the targeting options that we'd use. And of course, you can change this as needed. You can even target by gender as well, specific age, interests. So there's several different elements that you can use here. And connections, you want to select only people that are not connected to Grabber, but you can also do some advanced connection targeting. So target people who are connected to a certain page or app, and target people who are not connected to a certain page or app or an event as well. So and you can also target friends of connections. And then you can also select people that have certain relationship statuses, that speak certain languages, have certain educations, or for example, that are in college. And then you can even enter a college or enter a field of study, and you can also enter a workplace. So what's really interesting is that over the last few months, targeting has become more and more advanced and more specific. Before, it just used to be that you could select your audience, their age, gender, and their education, but now it's become very specific, and you can really boil down and select a very specific audience for your advertisement. So once you've selected your targeting, so let's just hide the advanced options, and we've already selected what we're looking for. Let's maybe also select some further sports so that we can increase our number of people, and perhaps let's remove college requirement, anyone, so we have a higher audience. There we go. Then of course next up is your campaign, pricing, and schedule. So here what you do is you insert your campaign name. Now this is usually for you to keep track, so you can give it a unique name, or if it is part of an existing campaign, you can just click on use existing campaign. Let's go with new campaign here. Then campaign budget, you can select a budget that you'd like to spend ideally per day. And then what will happen is Facebook will then stop running the ad as soon as it hits that budget per day. So as soon as you hit the $10, it'll stop running the ad. And you can also run your campaign continuously starting today, or set a start and end date. So let's say that you have a certain amount of time that you'd like the campaign to be live. You can set to start and end date. And then of course you have optimization and pricing. So let's go into the Prezi and discuss more about pricing in our next slide. Alright, so here we can see that as soon as we click on optimization and decide we want to optimize for clicks, you can actually start manually bidding for clicks, or you can select automatically optimize my budget to get more clicks. It's always a good idea to manually bid for clicks, because what you want to do is you want to check and see what are the usual bids that the ads are going for, and you want to bid a little bit higher so that there's a higher chance of your ad being seen by Facebook users. So remember, how it works is that the higher you bid, the higher the likelihood that a user will see your ad, and then once they click on the ad, so the cost per click, that will be charged to you every time a user clicks on the ad. So you don't want to have cost per impression, so that's CPM. So the reason why it's CPM and it's called cost per impression is because it's cost per thousand, and M is the unit for thousand in Latin. So I'm going to actually go in and show you a glossary of some of these terms within the slide, but what you want to do is always remember you want to select CPC. And here are now some of the key definitions that you'll see as we create our ad campaign on Facebook, and some of the key terminology that you'll see as well. So actions. Now an action as defined on Facebook is taken within 24 hours of someone viewing your ad, or 28 days after clicking on it. So actions include page likes, event RSVPs, post likes, and app installs. Actions can also include link clicks for domain-sponsored stories, and conversions when using offsite pixels. So what this basically means, what is an action? In some cases, we don't just measure cost per thousand or cost per click. We also measure cost per action, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much we're actually spending on the campaign, because that's anyway part of our overall budget. What matters is how much we've spent to get the user to perform an action. So cost per action basically determines what is the total cost of the campaign, and then how much was spent per action, and you decide what that action is. So is it a page like? Is it actually getting someone to perhaps purchase the product? Event RSVPs. The best part is that you can track all of this through the Facebook toolbar and through the Facebook ads dashboard, so you can start tracking from day one as people come in and look at your ad. And basically one of the most important metrics that you'll need to measure is cost per action, and we talk more about how you can measure that later in the lesson. Now ad reach, you'll also see this unit on your dashboard. It's basically the total number of unique people who saw your ad. Again, the total number of unique people, it will obviously have no effect on how much you're spending. It's only the number of people that actually click on your ad that will have an effect on how much you're spending. So campaign reach is the number of unique people who saw any ad within your campaign. So obviously you can have one campaign and multiple ads within the campaign. As I mentioned earlier, you want to do this so that you can measure the performance of each ad within an ad group, and then as you measure the performance, you decide that you're going to keep the most effective ad and leave and maybe delete the earlier ads because they're not performing as well. Or you can, rather than delete them, you can pause them basically. So clicks are the total number of clicks your ad received. If you're promoting a page, event, or app, clicks also include page likes, event joins, or app installs that came from your ad. The click-through rate is the total number of unique clicks your ad or campaign received divided by the number of times it was shown. So the number of times that an ad is shown is always known as an impression. So one impression equals one time that your ad has been shown to one user. So obviously you can have, one user can see an ad multiple number of times as they're on Facebook. However, each number of times that a person sees it is counted as an impression. And the average cost per click for your ad or campaign, calculated as the amount spent divided by the number of clicks received, is the CPC, the cost per click. And then the CPM is the average cost per 1,000 impressions on your ad or campaign, calculated as the amount spent divided by the total number of impressions received. So it's basically first you have to take the overall number of impressions. So let's say we had 10,000 impressions, we divide that by 1,000. So once we divided 10,000 by 1,000, we get 10. So the total number of 1,000 impressions we had were 10. And then we divide spent by 10, the total amount that we've spent, to get our cost per 1,000 impressions. So moving on, some other key definitions. Frequency are the average number of times each person reached with your ad or campaign saw it. So this is calculated as the number of impressions divided by the number reached. And frequency, obviously, you want to measure this because you want to see what is the average number of times people are seeing your ad. Impressions, the total number of times your ads have been shown in aggregate. So this can be higher than the number reached because it may include reaching the same unique user multiple times. So for example, if 4 users were reached one time and one user was reached 4 times with an ad, this would be represented by a reach of 5 and impressions of 8. And for the maximum bid, the maximum amount you're willing to pay for each click, so the cost per click, or per each 1,000 impressions, CPM, cost per 1,000 impressions. And when optimized ads are used, Facebook will automatically set this amount to achieve your desired goal. So max bid will appear as auto. We recommend not using optimized ads. It's better that you set a maximum bid for your advert. And social clicks are the clicks on ads that were shown with the names of the viewers' friends who liked your page, RSVP'd to your event, or used your apps. And social CTR, number of social clicks received divided by the number of social impressions. But what are social impressions? Impressions that were shown with the names of the viewers' friends who liked your page, RSVP'd to your event, or used your app. And social reach are the number of unique people who saw an ad with social information. So your friend likes this page, commented on this post, installed this app, RSVP'd to this event, etc. Social percentage, the percentage of impressions where your ad was shown with the names of viewers' friends who liked your page, RSVP'd to your event, or used your app. So before we move on to the next set of key definitions, what I'd just like you to remember from all the definitions that we've discussed in this lesson are really CPM and CPC, how you calculate overall CPC and CPM, and also how you can calculate cost per action. We'll actually talk about cost per action later during the lesson. But before we go in and discuss some more key definitions such as optimized CPM, let's actually go back into the Facebook dashboard and look at some of these key definitions being used. So now that we're back into the Facebook dashboard, let's click on Run My Campaign Continuously starting today. So we've set our campaign budget as $10 per day. And here, basically, by default, Facebook selects that your bid will be optimized to get more likes on your page. And the pricing that you've selected will then be, you will be charged every time someone sees your ad or sponsored story, CPM. What Facebook has done is set it to default that your pricing will be CPM. What you want to do is click on Switch to Advanced Pricing, which includes CPC. So here, what you want to do is you want to optimize for clicks, and then you want to manually bid for clicks. So I always recommend using this setting, and this is the setting that most agencies use as well for their clients. So what you want to do is basically click on Optimize for Clicks and then manually bid for clicks. You don't want to automatically optimize your budget to get more clicks. You can do this if you would like Facebook to monitor what is the optimized budget, and then it just keeps changing your CPC every day based on your budget. So one day your CPC might be $4. One day your CPC might be, let's say, $2, depending upon certain factors as to how many people are actually bidding for the ad. What we recommend is to continuously keep monitoring your advert, continuously keep seeing what is the suggested bid for that day, and then based on that you can keep changing your bid per click. So here, this is the suggested bid by Facebook, so $4.93 per click. What you can do is you can change this. So you can, for example, we're seeing here the suggested bid is between 43 cents and $14.57. That's a very, very high range, as we can see. So maybe if we scroll back up and we change, and we, rather than having 2 countries, we just switch it to 1 country, then here you'll see that the suggested bid, the range has been lowered. So rather than being between 0 and 0 point something and $14, it's now to 5. So here we have our suggested bid. Let's go with somewhere in the middle, so maybe 2.5. And yeah, and then we can just click on place order, and that's it. Our order is done, and our advert will begin once Facebook has approved it. So basically there's an approval process. It takes about 2 days usually, and what they do is that they look at your ad, they see the copy and everything, and then once they've approved it, you're ready to go live. So I always recommend clicking on manually bid for clicks, and then you can just select what your suggested CPC will be based on your campaign. So back to the Prezi, Optimize CPM, which is what the default setting is on Facebook for adverts, allows an advertiser to prioritize their marketing goals and then automatically delivers ads against those goals in the most effective way possible. Now, the system will automatically bid on behalf of the advertiser while remaining constrained by the campaign budget they define and the values they specify. So the dynamic bids allow the system to capture the highest value impressions for your goals, and you should expect the total ROI on the campaign to exceed that of either a CPC or a traditional CPM campaign. Now, this is what Facebook defines as optimized CPM. Facebook is trying to push advertisers to use optimized CPM, and then there's a very simple reason behind it. It's really because they make more money through CPM rather than CPC. They do say that there is higher ROI with optimized CPM rather than CPC. Over time, what we've seen though with several ad campaigns is that CPC is usually the best way to go if you want to optimize in terms of your overall budget. With CPC, you don't have a limit as to how many people actually see your ad. That's the advantage. With CPM, you do, because you have to pay every time 1,000 people see your ad, because it's cost per 1,000. With CPC though, there's no limit. I mean, hundreds of thousands of people can see your ad. However, it will only count when someone clicks on the ad. So that's really why we always recommend going with CPC. However, if you'd like to see some further definitions and read through the Facebook fact page, or even create an ad on Facebook, then you can actually click on those links to find out more. So overall, what you need to take away from this slide is that Facebook is pushing for optimized CPM. However, usually advertisers and agencies and marketers prefer using CPC. So here we see a dashboard, and basically it's an advertisement on how Mitt Romney or Barack Obama, if one of them wins, how that would affect science funding. This was a campaign that was done before the presidential re-election. And what we're going to do now is we're going to do a bit of an exercise from this Facebook ad dashboard. So if you look here, we can see the total amount that was spent during the overall campaign, and we can see how many clicks happened as well, the price that was set in optimized CPM. So this was an optimized CPM campaign, and here we can see the actions that were taken as well. So it was 70 actions, the overall social reach, frequency, the reach as well, and of course the status. So if it's green, it usually means that the campaign is currently running. So what I'd like you to do after seeing this dashboard is to calculate the cost per click. So just look at all of the numbers. At this point, what I'd like you to do is pause the video and calculate the cost per click. Once you hit play, you'll be able to hear the answer. So we asked how you can calculate cost per click. The answer is 36 cents. How did I arrive at that answer? Basically, what I did was I divided 69.39, so the total amount spent, divided by the total number of clicks. So that's 69.39 divided by 192, So it cost me 36 cents. So 0.36 was the answer. It cost me 36 cents per click. And that was my overall CPC. Now take a look at this dashboard and see if you can identify and calculate some of the other metrics that we discussed in our previous definitions. What is always recommended for ad success is that you should calculate cost per desired action. Basically, that's the total spent. So what you do is you divide that total by the number of likes, purchase amount, app install, page activity, or any other number of desired actions. So you'll be able to see your desired actions on your dashboard. Now it really depends upon you. You might have certain desired actions that you're hoping for, whether it's a like, whether it's a purchase amount, whether it's they click attending on an event. Once you've identified what that action is, so let's go back into the dashboard. And what I'd like you to do now is calculate cost per desired action. So just pause the video and click play once you're ready. The answer, 99 cents. Very simple how I did it. Just 69.39 divided by the total number of actions, which are 70, so 99 cents. If you got both answers correctly, give yourself a pat on the back, because now you've done the job of a digital marketer and a social media executive. So these are the kinds of metrics that you can expect to calculate in your weekly or monthly reports when you're reporting to your marketing managers, or perhaps when you're trying to create reports in order to measure the effectiveness of your overall ad campaign on Facebook. Also, if you'd like to view some more extensive data or results, you can click on View Report in Results to get data on desired actions. So here, if we go back and look at our Facebook dashboard, if you click on Full Report, you'll actually be able to get the full extent of all of the data that is available within the campaign that has taken place. Also, what's recommended is targeting criteria. So when you're trying to select your overall demographics and you're trying to target your campaign, you want to also select competitors or trade journals that are relevant to your business. So interest and demographic targets are important, and the reason why that's so is because bots don't fit your targeting criteria. So one of the biggest complaints that advertisers have from Facebook is the fact that several of their campaigns are clicked on by bots and they're not actually being seen by real human eyes. And if you'd like them to be seen by people, what you want to do is you want to make sure you have very specific demographic and targeting criteria mentioned in your campaign, because obviously a bot will not have also liked the Oreos page, for example, or a bot will not have some very specific interests. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you've got those targeting criteria in your ad campaign, and always specify that once people have liked your page, they no longer see the ad. That's not ticked by default, so you want to tick that within your campaign. So 3 things you want to remember for ad success. Firstly, calculate cost per desired action. So it's not enough to just calculate your CPC, you want to actually see whether people performed an action, how much it cost you to have them perform this action. 2, click on View Report and Results to get data. So you want to get that extensive data. Maybe you want to create some bar graphs, charts as well. 3, targeting criteria. Do not just select a certain country or a certain city and move on with your campaign. No, you want to make sure you've selected certain targeting criteria. So whether they like certain phones, whatever is important to your campaign, you want to select that, because you want to make sure that it's not seen by bots. So what else is recommended for ad success? Remember, Facebook ads are not for the lazy. So at the end of the day, you need to continue to monitor the campaign performance and check your average CPC and optimize CPM to determine what is the best metric for your campaigns. So it might be, in the case of your campaign, optimized CPM might perform better than average CPC. So what you want to do is calculate the cost per desired action and run 2 campaigns. So what you can do is you can run 1 campaign on CPC and 1 campaign on CPM, and then you can look at the click-throughs for both and compare. So if you see a low number of click-throughs over time, you may need to change your ad copy, landing page, image, or all 3 things. In order to make it easier, you can also have 3 ads running at the same time with different copy and different images, and also maybe a different landing page and different actions required from each ad. Also use approximate age match rather than exact. So I'm now back into the dashboard because I wanted to show you what I mean by require exact age match. So for example, let's say we are targeting 18 to 25 age range. It's always a good idea to not tick this, and the reason being that you also want people that are slightly outside of this age range, so maybe they're 17 and a half, or they're turning 18, or maybe 25 and a half. You want them to be shown as well, because if you tick this, then most likely your audience will go down by a significant number. So it's always a good idea that you don't tick this requirement. So use approximate age match rather than exact. And always test with a minimum of 3 ads. So you want to have your 3 ads running. You can select one control variable for the 3 ads, or you can even have 1 ad running on CPC, 1 running on CPM. Your control variable can be your ad copy, your landing page, your image, whatever you might want to test with. And just, you can test it over, for example, a period of 7 days, and then see how they perform, compare, and then maybe scrap the ads that aren't performing well. Here are some tips from Startup Nation. So instead of trying to be clever, try to communicate the value and relevancy to the audience right away. What are you offering? What's in it for them? Make it clear in your ad. Also, include a call to action. So clarify what you want them to actually do in your copy. And maintain consistency between the ad and the landing page. So use the same language and use the same tone as well. And perhaps you also want to use the same design. So you don't want your ad to be completely different from the landing page where people actually land. What's the destination where they go when they click on the ad? So you want to maintain that consistency. You can read more great tips from Startup Nation by clicking on that link. This brings us to an end of lesson 1.1. Next, in lesson 1.2, we discussed Facebook ad types and how you can manage Twitter advertising for brands. Thank you, and please switch over to lesson 1.2.